everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're setting our sights on a true marvel of the Istanbul skyline. We are looking at a late-career masterpiece by the legendary Mimar Sinan, sitting right down in the historic Tophane district, the Kilic Ali Pasha Mosque. Now, built for the Grand Admiral of the Ottoman Navy, this isn't just some beautifully designed building. No, it is a structure born out of fierce political rivalry, monumental engineering, and just sheer, undeniable naval bravado. We're going to break down exactly how a master architect and a legendary admiral teamed up to literally alter the coastline of Istanbul. Okay, let's dive into this origin story because it's absolutely fascinating. So when Kilic Ali Pasha decided it was time to build his monumental mosque, he naturally went to Sultan III Murad for a prime piece of land. But the Grand Vizier at the time, a guy named Lala Mustafa Pasha, was incredibly jealous of the admiral's rock star fame. So he intervened. He essentially blocked the land grant and mockingly declared, "He is the tiger of the seas, let him build his mosque on the sea." It was meant to be a definitive insult, right? A way to put the admiral firmly in his place. But instead of backing down, Kilic Ali Pasha took it literally. And that sparked the creation of one of the first major Ottoman mosques ever built entirely on reclaimed sea land.
Section 1. A challenge on the water. To really grasp this spatial and historical tour we're taking, we need to look at the man footing the bill. Kilic Ali Pasha was actually born in Italy as Giovanni Dionigi Galeni, and he rose to become an Ottoman Grand Admiral. This was a guy completely accustomed to achieving the impossible on the water. After his crazy heroism at the brutal Battle of Lepanto, he earned the title Kilic, which means sword, and the rank of Kaptan e Darya. And achieving the impossible is exactly what he did here. The massive sea-filling operation on the Tophane coastline began in 1580, and miraculously, the mosque opened for worship just a year later in 1581. I mean, think about the sheer logistical nightmare of that. Reclaiming land from the sea using 16th century tech, stabilizing all of it, and erecting a massive stone monument, all in roughly 12 months. It's a complete testament to the unparalleled engineering prowess of the era.
Moving on to Section 2, the flawless interpretation of Hagia Sophia.
Now, it wasn't just the timeline that was wild, it was the architectural challenge itself. The architect here was none other than Mimar Sinan. At around 90 years old, actually at this point people were calling him Koca Sinan, or the Great Sinan, he deliberately took on the most famous building in the city, the ancient Hagia Sophia. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how he utilized the domed basilica plan. Basically, this is an elongated rectangular space crowned by a massive central dome. It's a really old, really tricky structural concept. Sinan made a conscious, brilliant choice to take this ancient layout and totally modernize it using the highly refined classical Ottoman principles he had spent his entire lifetime developing.
You can see exactly what that modernization looks like when we put the two buildings side by side. The Hagia Sophia, for all its majesty, is held up by these massive, heavy buttresses and a super complex, bulky load-bearing system. It just feels weighty. But Mimar Sinan, applying his master understanding of statics, completely solved that ancient problem for the Kilic Ali Pasha Mosque. He engineered a highly refined support system that allowed the interior to be simple, perfectly balanced, and incredibly spacious, entirely ditching all that visual clutter. Section 3. The double portico exterior.
Before we go inside to see all that spaciousness, let's take a look at the exterior walls. They're built from beautifully cut Kufiki stone, which is this light, porous limestone, highly prized in Ottoman architecture. But the real star here is a super rare design element, the double portico, or Çifte Sancarat Yeri. It works as a two-step system. Step 1 is the inner portico, featuring 5 distinct domes cleverly hidden right under a pitched roof. Step 2 is the outer portico, which has a secondary pitched roof with wide sweeping eaves supported by this beautiful columned arcade. And this layered system isn't just for show. Being built literally on the water, this two-step barrier perfectly protects the building and the people from harsh coastal weather, all while adding immense aesthetic depth to the entrance. As you pass through that portico, you're greeted by a few specific exterior marvels. You've got the magnificent flat-arched marble main entrance, the Cümle Kapısı. This features a foundation inscription by the famous poet Ulvi, dating the structure to 988 on the Hijri calendar. And if you look up on the southwest side, you'll spot a stunning single-balcony cut-stone minaret, the Şerife. It's tall, it's slender, and it reflects the absolute perfection of classic Sinan proportions. All right, we've taken in the outside, so let's step through those marble doors. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds a masterpiece of light and tiles. Stepping into the breathtaking harem, the main inner sanctuary, the feeling of elevation hits you right away. If the outside is all about defying the sea, the inside is entirely about elevating the spirit through space and color. 12.70 meters. That is the massive diameter of the main dome. And it doesn't just sit flat. It rests on a high drum pierced by 24 windows, making it look like it's just effortlessly floating above you. To pull this off without those bulky supports we talked about, Sinan rested the whole thing on 4 incredibly elegant square pillars, known as fil ayaklari, or elephant legs. Supporting that giant central dome is this brilliant cascading system. You've got 2 main half-domes sitting on the east and west axis, which perfectly mirror the entrance and the mihrab. These are backed up by smaller quarter domes, or exedrae. Then on the north and south sides, you have 2-story gallery levels separated by graceful rows of columns. All these structural pieces expertly push the walls outward, miraculously expanding the spaciousness of the interior while holding on to absolute perfect symmetry.
So, the crucial point is how this structural genius actually affects the vibe inside. And the answer to that is 147 windows. Light just absolutely floods the space. Sinan engineered this so well. The lower windows are framed by jambs with wooden shutters so you can control the direct sunlight, while the upper ones are these stunning plaster frames filled with colorful stained glass, or alci penchulars, creating this heavenly diffused glow everywhere. And that gorgeous light illuminates some of the most insanely detailed interior art of the Ottoman Empire. We're talking walls adorned with 16th century Iznik tiles in coral red, turquoise, and dark blue. Right above the windows, you'll see exquisite Ayatel Kursi calligraphy done by Demirzizadeh Mustafa Effendi from the prestigious Karahisari school. Then your eyes are drawn to the white marble member, the pulpit, which features delicately carved geometric openwork known as ajwar. Next to it is the main mihrab, carved with stunning honeycomb-like muqarnas. Finally, the intricately carved wooden muezzin mahafli completes what is basically the absolute peak of Ottoman interior decoration.
Now here's a really cool, surprising fact. Among all this classical Islamic art, there was once a deeply personal touch. Historically, a massive marine lantern, taken directly from Kilic Ali Pasha's own personal naval galley, hung right smack in the center of the mosque. It's preserved in the Naval Museum now, but just imagine the visual impact of that. It was such a brilliant, tangible way to connect this deeply spiritual space right back to the patron's fierce naval identity.
Section 5. Other pearls of the Kilic.
A mosque of this caliber was almost never built in isolation. It was the anchor of a larger social complex called a kuliye. And this brilliantly illustrates just how comprehensive Ottoman urban planning was, basically dropping a bustling social hub right into the Tafane district. The complex includes the Turbay, an octagonal, domed marble tomb built by Sinan, where the admiral is actually buried. Right by the sea is the Madrase, a courtyard surrounded by domed student cells. You've got an incredible shutter van, an ablution fountain resting on 8 marble columns under wide wooden eaves. There's also the Hazire, the cemetery holding the graves of prominent statesmen and sailors. But honestly, the most famous addition is the hammam. Over to the east, this bathhouse features one of Sinan's widest domes, complete with classic filgozu lighting and a massive heated marble stone or gobek tashi. And remarkably, this architectural masterpiece is still functioning as a public bathhouse today.
So we've seen how petty jealousy sparked an incredibly audacious engineering project and how a 90-year-old master architect totally revolutionized an ancient design just to crown a legendary sailor's legacy. It's quite a story, right? So I'll leave you with this. The next time you stroll along the modern, bustling Tupina coastline, feeling that breeze off the Bosphorus, will you realize you're walking right on top of an Ottoman admiral's ultimate oceanic triumph? Keep that in mind and let history come alive right under your feet. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you next time.